And we should be up and running. We should be live. Ladies, gentlemen, fellas. It's been 2 weeks since we went live for golf because last week I was supposed to go up on a plane on Tuesday. Get back Tuesday night. Be ready to do this show. No. Didn't get back up into that plane on Wednesday night. Traveling all day Wednesday, stuck in an airport, all that stuff. Did an NBA video in an airport. You know, we had to keep the grind alive. I'm really waiting for all you wild fellas. I think it says right now, I could change this actually. I think it says, let me see this. I think it says right now the NBA is what the overlay say, NBA projections. But, I mean, you can still get the NBA projections. You can get it all if you really want to. But let's change that over to real quickly on my end. If you're watching the replay, what's going on? We're going live at 10:35 a.m. East Coast time. Change that up to the golfers. What's up, Slade? What's going on? I saw somebody on Twitter ask me if we're doing live today. We are. I just finished the Closing Thoughts podcast on Patreon. Thank you all for being here. If you're watching live right now, it's a Q&A based show. I'm going to take your questions. You ask your questions. I take them from anywhere from a half hour to an hour, depending on how many questions are coming in, what the vibe is like. If it's a good vibe, we stay. We have a good time, right? If it's not, if it's just we're edging through it, it's 30 minutes, the questions are done, then we bounce, right? We don't need to push it no more. So whatever you guys do, you guys influence the show. It's your questions, all of that. Then I'm going to do a little bit of, I might go driving to the driving range today. We might have to see how hot it is outside, get a little bit better at golf so I can start going on these golf trips with my friends. That is the goal, right? Go from a 0 to maybe like a 2.5 average type of a player, whatever that is on a 10's rating. But let's see. Scaring Flying. Morning, Sal. How long does it take Monkey Knife Fight to connect with you for the NFL info? So I saw that I believe it must have been you were added today, this morning. And then once you play, so when you go in for Monkey Knife Fight, you put your $10 in. Once you play $2 in non-promotional balance, so if they gave you the $5 bonus like they're supposed to, that doesn't count. So technically, once you pay $7 into a golf contest, into an NBA contest, then I'll get another update. I get updates at 7 a.m. East Coast time and 5 p.m. East Coast time. So if you've put money into a contest already, well then, because obviously if you don't, then you can just take your money out, withdraw it, and then you get the guide, and Monkey Knife Fight doesn't get a user, right? That's the whole thing. But at 5 p.m., I'll get another update. I saw you deposited the money. If you were the one who deposited overnight or this early this morning, I will then be updated once you actually play and you have entry fees of at least $2. That's when they'll trigger me an email to send you the guide. They send me emails that tell me who signed up, but they only tell me who deserves, quote unquote, the guide once that happens. What's going on, Evan? What's up, Will? What's going on? Hopefully that helps, Scaring Flying. Give me some Jordan Spieth thoughts. Talk me into off the ledge. Oh, baby. Yeah, Jordan Spieth is somebody I'll have ownership towards. I'll have leverage on. I like Jordan Spieth this week. Not because he's Jordan Spieth. Well, first of all, it's a weak field, and there's nobody in the 9K range, and the 8K range is the worst 8K range I think we've seen all year, in my opinion. So, strong 7K range, decent 6K range, terrible 8K range. There's just no golfers in the 9K range since my favorite play in the slate, and Abraham Answer, withdrew. He was my favorite play for a hot minute, and then he withdrew pretty quickly. But you have an expensive Justin Rose, and then you have a very chalky Harris English in the 9K range. Harris English is fine, but you better get different elsewhere. He's had 9 out of his last 10 events, top 20s, which is crazy, but nothing above a 9th place finish. But Jordan Spieth, he's going to be unowned. He's going to be the only guy probably above $9,000 that is in the single digits in ownership. So something's not like the other there. And number 2, he's only missed one cut since the restart, and he's only missed one cut since the beginning of February. So although he's finishing in like dead fucking last, because if he's in contention, this is what you want out of Jordan Spieth. Ready? You want Jordan Spieth to make the cut, of course, but be like 36th on Saturday. And then come into Sunday, be like T30th, right? No pressure on the guy. Go shoot a 4, 5, 6 under, and you finish T11, right? That's what you want out of Jordan Spieth. You do not need his mental state on a weekend or on a Sunday being in first place. First place is fine if he collapses into 15th, whatever it is. But you don't want him to be at like T7 coming into the weekend and people are like, Jordan Spieth's right there, T7, T4, because then that's when he just erupts and finishes dead fucking last. So Jordan Spieth I actually like. It's an ownership play more so than not, but the consistency in terms of making the cut is there. Don't let that get overshadowed. It's just that the weekend is when he blows up. Showdown slates have been pretty bad on the weekend if you played him. I like Jordan Spieth because of the ownership. I was asked by Justin, why are you out on Ryan Moore? He has been touted pretty hard. First person I've seen out on him, probably for that reason. I'm not playing a 20% owned Ryan Moore. There's no shot about it. The entire 8K range, in my opinion, looks like complete dog shit. Kevin Kisner looks decent. If we're talking about for this course, for their price points, Kevin Kisner looks decent, I would say. Outside of that, like I can see the arguments for Lowry, Siwoo Kim, and Sergio. I probably like Sergio the most out of those options. But like guys like Ryan Moore are picking up a ton of ownership. If he's being touted highly in other areas, it's probably because of that. Like that's the reason that he's picking up ownership. I have no interest in playing a 20% owned Ryan Moore. 20% owned Ryan Moore, who in my projections, like this is what it comes down to. People can tout players all they want because maybe they look like a good play. I have Ryan Moore projected for 70 fantasy points. That's good. He's my third best value play in the 8K range based on my projections. You can get these down below on Patreon with a click of the button if you wish. But I have Corey Connors projected for 1.5 more fantasy points. I have Kevin Kisner projected for 2.5 more fantasy points. And then I have Sergio even projected for a little bit more fantasy points. All those guys are right now going to be lower owned than Ryan Moore. And then even if you want to go higher, I have Siwoo Kim projected for more fantasy points. I have Shane Lowry projected for more fantasy points. All these guys projected for more fantasy points. And they're half the ownership as Ryan Moore. So like the only way you play Ryan Moore at that point, if you're looking at any sort of decent projections, and I would assume, and I am confident that my projections are good, not just decent. Yeah, if that's the case, looking at my projections, there is no reason to play a guy who's 20% owned for the exact same or lower fantasy points compared to guys who have similar or more fantasy points in a projection at half the ownership. So give me guys like Shane Lowry, Siwoo, Sergio, even Kevin Kisner, who's probably going to be popular as well, all over Ryan Moore. Ryan Moore can go out there and do well. I mean, he's literally projected decent for me. It's just relative to guys around him, I'm not going to be playing the guy at double the ownership. Thanks for the info. Looking forward to it. Yeah, Brand, no problem. Thank you for signing up. Yeah, if you guys want the Supreme Draft Guide, you can get it. You can get it. $10 Rooskies. And you get a bunch of stuff from Monkey Knife Fight as well. Do you recommend staying above the 7K range for lineup construction for this particular tournament? No, I do not. The 7K range looks fantastic. The 6K range has some very strong plays in it, in my opinion. I'm going to have ownership towards a lot of the 7K range and a decent amount of the 6K range. What it is, Sal. What's going on, Brian? How you doing? Sal, what's up? Hope you're good. Thank you. Hope you're well as well. What's up, Sal? Thoughts on Brendan Todd? Yeah, Brendan Todd, decent price point. Not too much ownership on him. I probably leave it. I probably don't take it. I don't really want much Brendan Todd. I'd rather have Jordan Spieth this week. I'd rather have Horschel, English. I'd rather just go up. Todd's game is interesting here. We know he can win in Birdie Fest. We know that, but it's just because he's done it once doesn't mean he's just always going to do it. Like Brendan Todd is historically a guy who will hit the fairways, and he has been doing very well the last month because it's been difficult courses. Twice at Merrifield Village, a WGC. I don't even know if he played WGC, but the PGA Championship, right? Or yeah, WGC. These are courses where he's leading after like the first round, or he's leading on Saturday. He's there on Sunday. They're difficult courses. It sets up well for him because he doesn't have to shoot low. He's good at one really good thing. He gets it into the spot where he gets it into the fairway. I was just reading somebody's comment. He gets it into the fairway, and that's a leg up. At this field, it doesn't matter. Everybody's going to get it into the fairway. Hitting fairways is easy here. Hitting greens in regulation is easy here. Brendan Todd, when it comes to his actual birdie or better average in this specific field, a weak field, is outside the top 70. So I got to play an expensive Brendan Todd. I get it. The field is weaker. That's why he's expensive. He's deservingly so out of all these other 8K guys based on how he's been playing as of late. Like Sanjay to be $8,800, who has not shown a pulse of life. Do you know, if you take out the WGC, where he finished 35th out of 70 golfers, that Sanjay M is missing every single cut he's playing and are finishing 60th. Every single one since his 10th place finish at the Charles Schwab the first week back. But for some reason, 20% of you guys want to own Sanjay M this week. It's crazy. I'd rather play Ryan Moore. I'd rather play Ryan Moore than Sanjay M. They're similar ownerships, it appears. But 20% of you are going to play Sanjay M. If Sanjay M was 10% owned this week at $8,800, I would have to strongly consider if 10% was too high for Sanjay M at $8,800 based on how he's been playing. This is not Sanjay before the break when he won us all money winning his events, when he was finishing top 10 left and right for a month. No. This is the guy who can't even make a cut right now, let alone when he makes the cut, finish above 50th place. So, yeah, no interest in Sanjay M for me this week. There was slight interest up until the point where I saw he was 20% owned. Can't go there. Who is your best value pick? Yeah, that's not a good question, I would say. I know people say no questions are bad questions, but like it depends. What is the price range you're looking at, right? There's different values. Like I can't compare a $6,300 golfer to an $8,000 or $7,000 or $9,000 golfer. Maybe a 7 and 6 to an extent, depending on the price range. But a guy who's $6,500, I can't compare his value for a slate to a guy who's $10,500. Tommy Fleetwood compared to Matthew Naismith this week. I can't compare those two players. Tommy Fleetwood's going to be projected for way more fantasy points, right? It's relative to the players around them. So if you're asking me who are your favorite values in the 6K range, those types of things, that makes a little bit more sense. But on the entire slate, this is not like the NBA. This is not like the NFL. Even in those positions, like NFL, you would ask me who's your best value play at running back, those types of things, right? So for golf, when they're all playing one position, a golfer, you have to go by price ranges. But I have all the values. I have all the values right now over on Patreon. If I filter Patreon just by values, guys like Munoz, Henrik Norlander, those guys pop up. Naismith, Will Gordon, Kyle Stanley. But again, ownership matters. Like, I'm probably not going to be in on all those guys because of ownership. I'll be in on some of them. And then also, those guys are all cheap. What do they have in common? They're all $7,300 or below. They're all in the 6K range. Naismith is $6,400. So best value play does not always just mean, like, if you filter it by value, that they're the best play in the slate. Their salary, normally when it's cheaper, is generally going to spike their value because it's easier at that point. They don't have to score more points. They just have to be cheaper, right? So they're not really doing much on their end. Sal, you rock. What's going on, Jay Mitchell? What's up? Should I play the NBA tonight or PGA Thursday? I would play PGA Thursday. I have no real interest in the NBA the next 2 to 3 days. I'm waiting to see what the injury reports are at 11 p.m., and then I'll do projections for today. But, man, the NBA is going to be brutal. These teams have nothing to play for. Tomorrow's teams have a couple things to play for, but today and on Friday, the same teams that are playing today, I believe, are all playing on Friday. They have nothing to play for. They've all clinched. Yes, you can argue that one team might want to be the 6th seed instead of the 7th seed, but they don't even have control over that until Friday when they know what the other teams are looking like. Yeah, NBA is not something I want to play today or Friday, and tomorrow it's just going to be a headache. It's going to be 7 games where 2 or 3 teams are really playing for something and their rights to get in. Memphis, Phoenix, to an extent, San Antonio, right? Those types of teams, Portland. Yeah, NBA right now until next Monday when the playoffs start is not going to be the most. HV3 or Doc Red the man. Give me Doc Redman. How is Norlander this week? Norlander looks very good. Norlander, it's his irons. His irons are fantastic. He's a strong around the green player, and then you get into a situation where you look at Norlander and you say, well, you putt this week, and that's it. Comes down to that. He has been, the last month and a half, he's been a lot better putter than he normally has been. How do we find out the ownership percentage before a contest starts? You pay for a subscription to a site. I get free subscriptions to multiple sites just because I am a creator, I guess, and I work for Awesemo, so I get there. I have had partnerships, or at least I've talked about and just naturally always talk about Fantasy National, so I see ownership there. So I look at ownership from about 5 or 6 different spots. I track my own ownership as well for events and for contests. I don't ever release my ownership specifically. I guess I could just release it on Patreon, but I'm not trying to release it for the purposes of me to be accurate with it. That's the goal of it, of course. But right now it's in like a beta stage, my own ownership, where I'm continuously back testing it. So if it's in like the under wraps department, it's going to stay there until I feel confident in it. But I use that ownership. I use probably about 5 or 6 different ownerships each week. Morning, Sal. Help talk me off Patrick Rodgers and Tom Lewis. Yeah, I have no interest in Patrick Rodgers, none at all. I mean, the guy can putt, but I do not trust any other part of his game to actually compete here that well. Tom Lewis is fine. No strong stance there. Just sort of a map play for me. Tom Lewis, I think, projects out decently, I would say. Patrick Rodgers, though, I excluded him from my player pool. But Tom Lewis projects for 68.3 points. He's a B- in my overall GPP rankings. Looks pretty decent. Looks very similar to guys like, I'd rather have Redmond. Looks similar to like Postons of the world, your Fratellis of the world, your Niemans in terms of value. NBA sucks right now. Can't guess who will play or not. I mean, you don't have to guess. You know what the rotations are. There's no G Leaguers. So it's just a matter of like tomorrow, I don't want to keep up with money on the line, a lot of it, and having to keep up. Like, I'm not going to play 150 tomorrow. I might play single entry 3 max, if anything. I might just take the day off. I might go to Asheville for the weekend with my girlfriend and just not even play the next 2 days NBA or make a video, because it's just going to be a headache. Like, I'm waiting for the 11 o'clock injury report to even see if all the work I put in this morning for the video matters, right? I think it does. I think I kind of put in enough if-then statements, but it's really annoying. Also, I'll call out that Superdraft is sponsoring this, so go over there. If you are a Patreon right now and you're not using Superdraft, when you have projections for NBA and you kind of know what to expect, and these golf tournaments are only filling at like 50% right now, you need to get in there, especially you watching this, whether it's on the replay or live. Go into Superdraft. I'm not saying this because they're just sponsoring the show. That is definitely partially why I'm saying this, right? But the only reason I take people on to sponsors is because I actually believe in something they're either doing. I use it myself. I think everybody needs to be doing that if you're sponsoring something or promoting something. But I believe in what they're doing. 1, different format, innovation. But 2, you're literally handing out money. If you play NBA over there during the playoffs for 10 days in a row, I guarantee you will win the majority of the days and you will have a profit. If you use the projections, if you play golf over there for 10 events in a row, if it's only 50% of the prize pool filling, you will win money. That's just going to happen unless you just don't know if you don't know anything about golfers. But if you're watching this video, I assume you do. Somebody says, yo, Sal, I'm in Asheville. Yeah, Jonathan, question about that. One, I mean, that's awesome. I hear it's a nice place. Are the breweries open? Are people like sitting outside there? I've never been to Asheville. I do want to go. Probably go hiking, just chill. There's no NBA this weekend. Obviously, golf, I don't want to have to put any more content out this weekend. So before the NFL starts in 3.5 weeks, I figured I might want to go with my girlfriend and take a weekend trip. I would like to fly somewhere, but then it's just like a whole hassle flying 2 days for like a 5-day trip, 4-day trip. Rather just drive. Are like bars and breweries, obviously bars inside or not, but like are the breweries, do they have outdoor seating? Is that all cool if I go down there for like a Friday to a Sunday? Am I actually going to have things to do, or am I have to sit in a hotel that has the pool closed? The Nuggets game, both are playing for the 2 seed. Yeah, Mike, the issue about the 2 seed, you can argue that they're playing for the 2 seed, but at the same time, like what? The Clippers in Denver, they're playing for the 2 seed. They don't even know who they would play. There's like 5 or 6, there's like 3 or 4 teams that can finish as the 7 seed right now or the 6 seed. So it's hard to really judge. And the Nuggets, I don't think they're playing for the 2 seed since they sat all their starters in the last game in the fourth quarter. They were trailing by 7 points midway through the third, and they just sat all their starters for the final 16 to 17 minutes. So there's no way that you can tell me they're actually pushing for the 2 seed when they just gave that game away. That game was tied at halftime. They end up going down by 7 midway through the third, and then they just pull all their starters. There's just no way. Crazy to go Webb, then skip all the way down to Kisner and Moore as my second golfer in a mix as my low. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to play Webb and Kisner and Moore, then you're just going to play like a very chalky lineup, in my opinion. I think skipping the 9K range might make you somewhat unique, but really only English is picking up any major ownership there. So I think a lot of people are going to play Webb and probably own either Moore, Kisner, or both. So I think that's a common build. I don't have much interest in playing Webb if I'm playing in single entry or 3-max. If you're playing 150s, it's hard to get away from Webb because there's just not that many good plays in this slate in general. And Webb is the best play in this slate. He's my highest projected player, but he's also going to be 40% owned. I saw Super Pete. What's up, man? He says, Sal, great info. If I've missed it, how high is the ownership on Webb right now? Yeah, Webb's going to come in some contests 50, 60% owned. He's probably going to come in the Million Maker close to 40% owned. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm only getting 35% Webb, somewhere around there in my original crunches, and he's going to be higher on than that. He's clearly over-owned. Like, Webb Simpson I have for 93 fantasy points. That's the most I have anybody projected for. But I have Patrick Reed at 90 fantasy points, and he's going to be like half as owned. He's going to be 15% less owned for just 3 more fantasy point difference. Tommy Fleetwood is going to be 25% less owned than Webb Simpson this week. I get it. He lives on the course. He plays there 100 times a year. That obviously makes him a very good play here. He's finished fantastic here. He knows this course, every inch of it so well. I understand all that. But instead of finishing T2, maybe we can just get him to finish T13 and we're fine. That being said, I'm playing him in MME. It's hard not to because when you're playing 150 lineups, trying to find 150 lineup combinations without any Webb Simpson makes your lineups look pretty shitty in my opinion. But in single entry and 3-max, I think I'm going to leverage against it. Yeah, so right now, like Tommy Fleetwood, I have Tommy Fleetwood projected for 3.8 less points, 3.7 less points less than Webb Simpson, and he's going to be 25% less owned. So is each one of those points in a projection really worth 8% in ownership? I mean, I don't think so. Tommy Fleetwood being 25% less owned for $700 less than Webb Simpson. I mean, I get it. The course history, the fact that he plays here is weighing a lot of that. It's swaying a lot of that. His skill set here is probably the best. His irons plus putting, that combination that we want, a pitch and putt here, is probably the best out of anybody on this entire slate. But Tommy Fleetwood's is up there too. So yeah. Are you playing on Stat Hero? I don't know what Stat Hero is. What is that? Any thoughts on the Alphabet Man as a sleeper value play? Honestly, no thoughts. I didn't even know he was in the field. I didn't think JJ Redick in favors wouldn't play at all. Yeah, that's not great. Sorry to sidetrack. NBA, back to PJ. You're all good. Jay Mitchell, what is Stat Hero? Is that another site to play on? I'll check them all out if there's overlay. Any thoughts on the weather for this event? No, I'll probably look into the weather later today. I saw somebody said it's supposed to be raining here. If it's going to rain the entire weekend, then, I mean, you can go lean towards some of the overseas players. It would probably make me like Tommy Fleetwood a little bit more, Shane Lowry a little bit more. That's about it. If it's going to be rain and not really wind that much, you just honestly, I mean, you can try and look into the splits where there's 7 rounds of golf that one guy has played well in the rain and look into that small sample and trying to infer that he's the best player in the field. I think that's all bullshit. So what I'm just going to go with, yes, there's wind splits. You can look at wind splits, guys like Shane Lowry, Tommy Fleetwood to an extent, the Danny Willits of the world, right? But I'm not going to weight that all that much. I know somebody reached out like a month ago and his mind was blowing gaskets that I didn't talk about weather more in golf. Yes, in showdowns it matters. In your 4-day weekend event, unless it's going to be the windiest event of all time, then yeah, go get the guys who always play on the wind courses overseas if you really want them that much. But if it's just going to be raining each day and raining for parts of the day, then you just have to look into the AM/PM splits. Who's going to be starting off their splits in a better situation? And that's also only going to be affected for really the first and second day. If you have guys making the cut, you have no idea what the weather and or their split times are going to be at that point because it all determines on how well they've been playing. So I try not to get grasp like how they putt on Bermuda, like getting so deep into this because putting is so random and the weather itself is random. Like we've been told that it's going to rain the entire weekends about 10 times this year. I think it happened once or twice, so it's overblown. Weather is vastly overblown in every sport. Unless Vegas odds change on people's percentages of making the cut and people's percentages of finishing top 10, top 50, all that, then my projections probably aren't going to change on them. Yeah, a good bit of the breweries are open. You just have to wear a mask inside and take it off when you're drinking or eating. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, if there's a decent amount for like a 2-day trip, I might go. Hey, sorry to interrupt the golf stream. Are we getting your NBA projections on Patreon today, even though it's a smaller slate? Yeah, they'll be up, Xander. I'm waiting for the injury reports at 11 a.m. I didn't want to project the entire slate for then 20 guys to be ruled out 10 minutes later, and then I have to redo the whole entire thing. So the 11 a.m. injury reports is when the NBA puts their first injury reports out, and I will then do projections based off of that. What do we got? Stat Hero is a new fantasy/survivor fantasy app. I'll have to look into it. Low prize money, but only playing against the Stat Hero and not against the masses. Plus, it's encased in a survivor pool format. Low money. I'll have to look into it. I'll check it out. Could Sungjae Im be this week's Paul Casey? I don't think so. Paul Casey was actually playing well in other areas. His putter was just dead. Paul Casey had his 2 worst putting performances coming into last week that he's had in the last 3 to 5 years. Sungjae Im has shown no life, no pulse, nothing. Miscuts. 35th at the WGC where there's only 70 golfers, so average. Miscuts, finishes 58th, finishes 60th, right? I love Sungjae. He's won me a lot of money. He's won me outright bets. Well, one last a couple months ago. But I'm not going to Sungjae this week. And here's the thing. If Sungjae was 6-7% owned, where he should be, based on how he's been playing, I would get some. He's 20% owned, 15% owned on some sites. He's averaging like 22% owned. How can I play Sungjae Im when he has not shown a pulse of life? He should be a $7,500 golfer this week, if not lower than that, based on how he's played the last 2 months. And people want to own him at 20% ownership. There's no case to be made for playing Sungjae Im this week in any type of large mass amount. Who do you like in the 7K range? Spieth ownership trending low. Are people afraid to take him still? Yeah, Spieth ownership is low, which is exactly why I like him this week. Not really any other reasons why I like Spieth. If his ownership was high, I wouldn't like him. His ownership's low, so I like him. He's going to be the only guy at $9,000 and above that you can actually get decent leverage on by actually playing him. You can get leverage against guys by fading them. Who do I like in the 7K range this week? 7K range. I mean, Henrik Norlander is going to be a pretty strong play. He's going to be popular. Norlander, Brian Harman's okay. Norlander, Lucas Glover stand out at the lower end. The upper range, I mean, Doc Redmond stands out. Poston stands out to an extent. Mid-range, Rory Sabatini is there. Neiman, all the way up top. I probably fade Russell Henley for ownership reasons. Sepp Straka, Sam Burns on the really low end. Those guys pop off a little bit. Brendan Grace is okay. Not really infatuated with it. Any love for Bzutenhout? Seems like a good stat fit. Yeah, he's decent for me. He grades out as like my 25th overall play if I'm just sorting by value right now, so that's not terrible. He grades out as a B in my rankings. What does Spieth do well, and what does he suck at? Wasn't he usually a good putter? Yeah, historically he's a really good putter. He sucks off the tee, and off the tee doesn't matter as much here this week. He straight out sucks off the tee. His putter's been up and down since the restart, but historically it's very good. If he's ever going to perform very well, it's going to be the weeks where Spieth is gaining like 6 strokes with his putter. But yeah, he's been playing well on approach, which matters here. He's been playing very well on approach. The last month, his approach game has been very much clicking. Since the return, for the most part, his approach play has been very much so clicking. He's a good short game player, whether it's around the green or with the putter. His concern, and as it has been for a while now, and in his head and when I say a while, I mean a very long time, has been off the tee. I mean, it's been since 2018 that his off the tee has been consistent. And when it was consistent in 2018 to 2017 is when he was winning left and right. The Travelers, the Open, finishing top 10s like every single week. And since then, nothing. So yeah, his off the tee is his issue. How long have we been live for? Hit the like button. Hit the big old subscribe button. We got over 24,000 subscribers. We got 79 of you watching right now. What up? What's happening? Appreciate that. We've been live for 23 minutes. I think I'm going to bounce in a couple of minutes. So get your final questions in. If you want to make sure that you do get a question asked, you could always super draft. There you go. Super chat it if you want. But yeah, sign up for Super Draft, sponsors of the live stream. Hit the like and subscribe. Adam Shank, exclamation point. Adam Shank is a very okay play for me. He's not somebody that's going to be standing out above the rest. He's just an okay play. I don't think he's terrible. I don't think he's fantastic. He's in a player pool for me. He's not somebody that I'm going head over heels for. Let's try and find Mr. Shank. Adam Shank is currently, if we look at value, a very nice value option, but there's so many guys in the 6K range that I like more. I like Munoz more. I like Will Gordon more. I think Stanley's a better play if you're playing cash, but ownership is a concern there. Adam Long I like more. Mark Hubbard I like more. Kokrak I like more. Matthew Naismith I like more. Chase Seifert I like more. So that's in the 6K range alone. But yes, Adam Shank will be after that, right around like Chase and Hadley interest, Taylor Gooch interest. So yeah, I'm going to have Adam Shank. Cam Davis, probably not going to have much Cam Davis this week. Just so many other options in that range that I like a lot more. Cam Davis is my 94th overall play this week, which means he's probably, if he makes my player pool, it's like a 1 to 2% guy. What's your thoughts on Spieth? Last week he had the first 3 rounds not so good. He pulled it together. I mean, I think Spieth just had a bad Saturday for the most part. I thought he was pretty decent the other days. Do you think there's a narrative for him coming out swinging? No pun intended. So I guess I just shared my narrative on Spieth a little bit. If you were here for that, Jacob, I think you were here for that. So I'm playing Spieth in DFS because of ownership, because his projection is very similar to Harris English for me, and he's going to be a third of the ownership. So that's why I'm playing him. If he comes out and he shoots well and gains off the tee and he finally plays well, like if he gains off the tee is going to be easy for him. That's his biggest weakness, and that's the easiest thing to do with this course. So off the tee is going to be even easier for everybody this week. So that's why I like Spieth to an extent if I just have to give you a narrative. The reason I actually like Spieth is the fact that he's going to be 6% owned, and I have him for a half a fantasy point less than Harris English, and Harris English is going to be 25% owned. Yes, English is the more consistent golfer, but for this specific event, I have them projected very similarly, and the ownership is not even close. I have him projected very similar to Billy Horschel, and he's half his own, right? So I'm playing Spieth because of ownership. If I had to build a narrative, it would be, yes, his short game is historically good. It has been shaky. His approach game has been good right now. His off the tee sucks, but it doesn't matter here as much. So course fit wise, there is a loose course fit for him. Still like Adam Long, yeah, I think he's fine. Wallace, I think Wallace is fine. Jim Furyk to make a run this week, top 10? I don't think so. I think Furyk projects out nicely, but not top 10. Thoughts on Sergio? He might be my favorite 8K option. Him and Kisner, but they're both picking up ownership, so I'm really just fading that 8K range in general. Thoughts on Tom Lewis? Yeah, Tom Lewis is okay. I think he's decent. I prefer other guys in that upper 7K range, Doc Redman, but Tom Lewis is playing very well as of late. It seems like he's recaptured what he kind of showed earlier on in his career when it looked like he might be a young rookie phenom. So if he can consistently show that, that's pretty good for the price point that he's at right now. I think he's decent. Ownership's fine on him. Slam the like button. Yes, you should. Armour seems to be lined up well at Sedgefield. Armour? Yeah, I don't think I'm getting much Armour right now. Where do I have him ranked at? Armour's definitely going to make a player pool. He's a C- for me. Gave him 58.6 fantasy points, and he's at my 46th overall play, so he'll definitely make a player pool. Hit the like button. Yes. Yeah. Varner or Henley? I'll go Varner there. I'm going to fade Henley this week. All right, gang. Get your final questions in. This is just a little quickie for all of you out there. Just wanted to hop on. I wasn't planning on doing a live show today because I've been trying to prep up more fantasy football content, do some other stuff. Did this NBA video this morning, which I honestly regret doing. Hopefully you enjoyed it if you watched it. But these next 3 slates are just going to be so ridiculous that I'm not looking forward to them. The NBA news is coming on now, though. 11 o'clock injury report. Here we go. It looks like the Thunder are not putting any of their players out today. A couple of guys questionable, so I'm going to have to track all this shit. The last thing I want to do these next couple of days is track the G League NBA injury news. Do you like Ventura this week? No. Thoughts on Wolf? I don't think Wolf is in this field, so no interest on Matthew Wolf. He's not in this field. Short on the likes, peeps. Yeah, hit the like. Neiman or Redmond? I'll take Redmond there. Ownership, he's going to be like half his own. They're similar projections for me. Favorite 7K options? A bunch. In no particular order. Norlander, Harmon, Lucas Glover, Poston, Doc Redman, Tom Lewis, Roy Sabatini. Neiman a little bit. Probably going to fade Russell Henley. I might fade Neiman too based on his price or his ownership. Lower range, Sam Burns looks decent. Always those guys who can putt and get hot. Stock has been okay. Looking forward to the NFL best ball video in the future. Thanks for all you do, Sal. Let's pray NFL is not canceled because of COVID. I don't think the NFL is going to get canceled. I would say that it would take multiple players dying for that to happen. Weather doesn't look promising, and based on the fact that younger players who are in good condition or younger people who are in good condition have a very low chance of dying, let alone having severe cases or anything from it, I feel pretty good that the NFL is not going to cancel. I don't see a reason why it would outside of people dying. The MLB, which is a horribly, the worst It's well below any other major sport that you can think of. It's borderline with the WNBA. And you can make fun of the WNBA because it's women playing sports, and if you do, you're absolutely sexist. The WNBA is a fantastic sport. The reason I say the WNBA is similar to the MLB is the way it's managed. The WNBA does not know how to market. They fucking suck at it. The MLB does not know how to market, does not know how to run an organization, does not know how to brand. They fucking suck at it. If a terrible organization like Major League Baseball, and if you're sitting there clenching your fist, don't talk about baseball the way, it fucking sucks. I don't care. The game itself, fun to go to a game, boring as fuck, but fun to go to a game. The marketing of it, their brand, fucking sucks. The MLB is very bad at what they do. And they are keeping a season alive when 4 teams aren't even playing games right now because their whole team has COVID. If they're able to shoestring that together right now over a month into the season, I feel pretty confident that the best businessmen in the world, like it or not, in the NFL are going to be able to get this thing done. Trust me. Reason for fading more, he seems to be heating up lately. Yeah, he's going to be like a top 5 owned guy. And the reason people are playing him is because he's shown like one good outing. I can name like 20 other guys who've shown one good outing that are lower owned and lower priced. So... I think that Moore sets up nicely at these weaker courses. I would have liked to get some more this week, but he's probably going to be 100% fade for me. And if he wins the tournament, so be it. But I have Ryan Moore. He's right now double to 4 times as much owned as other guys in his price range that I have for more fantasy points. So, I just can't go there at that point. Everybody loves him because he played well at the 3M Open, where he actually blew the lead because his around the green in a short game sucked towards the end. I get it. He gained 7.3 strokes on approach. So everybody is jumping on Ryan Moore this week because he had his 5th best approach week of his entire career in like the last decade, his 5th best ever. So we're going to chase that. That's going to happen again, right? But I get it. Like Ryan Moore actually sets up for this course nicely, but not when he's 20% owned. Not when guys around him, I'll name them. Corey Connors, and I don't like how Corey Connors sets up here, but projection-wise, Corey Connors, similar projection. Kevin Kisner, similar projection. Sergio, Shane Lowry, Siwoo Kim. All these guys have similar projections, if not higher. Even Sanjay, and they are lower owned. Well, Sanjay is similar owned, so that's why I didn't really include him at first. How in God's earth does Lowry make enough putts to justify $8,700 this week? He probably doesn't. Yeah, I think I got like 4% Lowry in my latest crunch. He probably doesn't. You mentioned you were full fading Webb in 3-max and single entries. Yeah, probably. I'm probably not going to play Webb in single entry or 3-max mid to upper stakes contests. The dude, he's going to be 60% owned in those contests. It is scary. Look, he's finished second, third, 72nd, so that's a possibility, and 6th. He lives at this course. So when he finishes top 3 in the last 3 years, it makes sense. He's out there golfing probably 100 times a year. When he's not on tour, he's probably golfing there, to be honest with you. He lives on the course. He actually does. But he's expensive. He's $11,200, and he's 60% owned and up in higher stakes, probably 50% owned. So it's just probably not something I'm going to go to. Will you ever do FanDuel videos or just DK? Just DK. FanDuel is also. I was just talking about how MLB and the WNBA suck at marketing and suck at business relations. FanDuel is very similar. They suck at that. Who the hell buys best ball from draft, which is a popular format? I understand why best ball is not good for businesses. You're keeping people's monies wrapped up. In DFS, you're getting people's money, and if they lose, you keep their money that night. In best ball, you're literally keeping it for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, right? It sucks as a business thing. You can't touch that money. It's not an asset to you at that point. It's in float or whatever they're going to call it. But FanDuel buys them out and then just deletes the product, and now they just got passed by the better company in DraftKings yet again. I have no ties right now to either team. Maybe DraftKings wants to sponsor this channel. If you're out there, come on. What are you doing? But FanDuel is just, I don't know. If they want to sponsor this channel one day, if they can get the act together, we can maybe go there. But it's just not much innovation going on over there, I would say. Thoughts on the bubble guys for the FedEx playoffs? Yeah, I mean, who is it? Like Nick Watney or whoever it is at the bottom trying to get in? I'm not going to buy the narrative too much. Patrick Rogers, I have 0% of this week. Fade more in GPP, but would you consider him as a cash? I don't think Ryan Moore is a safe cash play. No, I don't know why he's 20% owned. It has to be because people are only talking about him in podcasts. He has one good finish last week, and now, or 2 weeks ago at an easy course where he has one of his best career approach weeks with his irons, and now everybody wants to own him at like a top 5 ownership number. If you go Webb and single entry and leave any money on the table, is that different enough? You'd have to leave a decent amount. Yeah, look. Getting different in golf is not that hard to have a unique lineup. You just don't, you can play Webb this week. The reason I don't want to play Webb is if Webb just finishes 18th this week, I just knocked out 50% of the field in higher stake contests. I just knocked him out, right? He's not going to be in an optimal lineup when he finishes 18th at 11,200. So all I need Webb to do this week, he can play it well. He can make the cut. He can play well all he wants, right? Just have one double bogey or two double bogeys on your final round, and you're finishing 18th, right? Where you finished 72nd one time here, and I knock out 50% of the field. And the reason I like that in single entry and 3-max is you can make some really good lineups without Webb when you're only making 1 to 3. When you're making 150 lineups without Webb, it starts to become a lot more difficult. So that's why I'm going to have him on 150 max lineups. But that's it for right now, gang. Please do hit the like and subscribe before you go. Check out Patreon if you want the projections and rankings. Any other questions you could ask over there on the Discord, the private Discord, where I will answer if you just at me. I'll drop the Patreon link into here. And if you use the promo code SAL on SuperDraft, you get 10 free dollar Rooskies. So peace out, gang. Appreciate all of you. See you in the next one. I'm one tired motherfucker, gang. Let me put on this little outro. Nice. Thanks, bro. No problem. Peace out, everybody. Hit that subscribe button before you go. You can check out the fantasy football playlist that's popping up or the next video if you think it helps you. Have a great rest of your day. Best of luck this weekend. Bink some moolah. And if you do, come back, support the channel. Peace out.